Hey everybody, welcome to Fortes and Fide. I got a really interesting story to tell you. So I'm going to try to use like more stories when I make these videos just to kind of make things interesting. But when I was a freshman in high school, I went to a Catholic school. And I've only been to two Catholic schools in my life. One was in 9th grade, another was in 8th grade. The 8th grade one, it was a great school, it just didn't get enough funding and they unfortunately shut down. But the school I went to in 9th grade still stands to this day. Now, I'm going to keep the school anonymous because I don't want to throw shade on a Catholic school. But there was something that, those two big things that happened that caused my parents to be like, we're pulling you out and we're homeschooling you again, right? Because we wanted to give Catholic schools a chance. And again, I want to make sure this video, I'm not dogging on Catholic schools, I'm not saying they're bad, but I'm saying that parents, you probably should be aware that the school might try to tell you something, but then behind closed doors, they'll be teaching something different, right? And we wonder, like, why, you know, I've heard parents say this, because I'm part of a lot of Facebook groups with parents, and they say, like, you know, I sent my kids to Catholic school, and they came out an atheist, or they came out not believing anymore, and they wonder why that happens. And my answer to them is like, well, faith starts at home. But anyway, I want to give you guys these stories. So, when I went to this Catholic school, they had crucifixes in every room, which is great, right? They had crucifixes in every room. And then one day, they were all gone. And I was like wondering, like, why did that happen? And then turns out, the vice principal took down all the crucifixes. Now, why did he take down the crucifixes? Well, because we had some non-Catholic people in our school, which is fine, nothing wrong with that, who found it offensive, right? Now, I don't know about you, but that's absurd, okay? Why is it offensive? It's offensive because you don't believe in it? Well, why are you in a Catholic school, right? Now, it's one thing to go to someone else's school and just like learn and want to learn, right? Because there's a lot of people that go to Catholic schools that are not Catholic, and that's fine. By the way, universities were created by the Catholic Church, right? They started by the Catholic Church. But to kind of like give into that as a Catholic, as a vice principal, was really disturbing. So that was the first thing that kind of raised the red flag for my parents. Second thing is we started reading about Siddhartha. Now, if you don't know who Siddhartha is he's Buddha, right? He's the founder of Buddhism, and it's a story filled with lustful thoughts, filled with fantasies, and the idea of this was to open our minds to other religions, right? That was the English teacher's idea. However, as a young and impressionable teenager, right, for me, I just thought it was hilarious, to be honest. I was just like, this book is really weird. But some of my classmates, you know, I know some of them now, they're no longer Catholic, and I feel like the things looking back at what was in that book, it really makes you question your faith. It really makes you think, like, boy, is Catholicism the only way? Because when you're studying other religions and you're already kind of struggling with your own faith, it kind of weakens your own faith, right? Now, I'm writing a book on Blessed Takayama, who is a samurai who lived in the 16th century, and I have to learn about Buddhism. Now, I'm at a different point in my life where I've gone through the whole like self-help, the new age stuff, manifestation. I did all sorts of that crazy stuff. I did some yoga. It turns out I found out that the yoga I did was like the most demonic kind. I didn't know that. I just found that out the other day. But I used to do that, so I'm kind of like, I'm staying away from it. But I'm learning it just to see how can I see why, in this case, why did Takayama's father, Dario, decide to become a Catholic even though he was raised in the Shinto and Buddhist religion, right? So I have to learn about it. But there's a difference between learning about it as an adult and then learning about it as a kid. And the main difference, too, is that when you're learning something for academic reasons, it's, you know, kids' minds are very impressionable, right? And what I was really upset by was the fact that that we were learning about this book, we were reading it, and it just kind of stopped there. We didn't go into, you know, Catholic authors. We didn't go into St. Augustine. Like, we didn't do that, right? And it just kind of stopped with, let's learn about other religions because you guys already got enough of that, right? That's basically the premise. Like, you already got enough of it. Let's learn about other cultures. And it's very dangerous. It's a very slippery slope. So I encourage you guys, if you have kids in Catholic schools, just remember, their job isn't to teach your kids catechism. I know that sounds counter to what you might hear being promoted in Catholic schools this week. And again, I'm not dogging on Catholic schools. I think there's definitely a few good ones. But to place all of your trust and all of your hope in having the Catholic school give your kids a strong interior life is not going to help, right? The authority that you have as a parent is way more impactful than a Catholic school. Now, luckily for me, even when I left my faith, when I was being very, Catholic in name only, I grew up with a lot of catechesis taught by my mom and my dad. And luckily, I was very lucky to get taught by Dominican priests when I was in 8th grade by that one Catholic school that shut down. It was a great Catholic school. I always have fond memories of it. One of my friends in that school, he's a priest now, and there's only about 30 of us, so 1 out of 30. That's a pretty good ratio, right? And there's some others that maybe they become priests. I have no idea. But I would just say this: like, don't place all your trust in them. Again, I have to say this a million times, but don't dog on I'm not dogging on the Catholic schools. I'm just saying, as a parent, be very aware of what your kids are learning. Very aware. I've had so many friends of mine, especially those in more traditional households, leave the faith because of those experiences, right? Not resisting them, but kind of letting it in, right? So that's all I have for the rant for today. So hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. See y'all soon. God bless.